Hi friends, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here for a while. I know I haven't been here for a while, school has been extremely busy, but I'm here, I'm alive, and I got a new haircut. I just got this yesterday from when I'm filming this intro clip, and I am so excited about it. This is the shortest I've ever gone, and I feel extremely powerful. So, in honor of the Shadow and Bone show coming out about 2 weeks from when I'm filming this, which is insane, I'm so excited, my friend Zoe and I decided that we were going to read the Grisha trilogy in preparation. I obviously have read the Grisha trilogy before. I have a video up about it on my channel from quite a while back actually, but Zoe has not read it before. And also, speaking of Zoe, she has her own channel. She does awesome like vlogs and booktube kind of things, like day in the life type stuff. Her channel is so aesthetic and adorable and cute. I love it so much. So I will link her down below. Please be sure to go check her out and subscribe if you like what you see. Anyway, we decided to do little chats about each of the books. Haven't yet gotten to Ruin and Rising, but our Shadow and Bone chat is going up on her channel, and our Siege and Storm chat is going to follow this intro clip. I am so excited for you guys to see it, get to really dive into one of my favorite books in the Grishaverse. Without further ado, let's go. We can start out with the ratings. I'm gonna give this beauty a 5 out of 5, which should surprise absolutely nobody. This is beautiful and gorgeous, and Nikolai is the love of my life, and the political intrigue is so cool, and even though like nothing happens in this book until the last like 40 pages, I am obsessed with it.
Fair enough. I also gave this one 3 stars.
So you also gave it 5. All right, I'll hear you out, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't remember why, so I think I will figure it out as we discuss the book.
Okay, lovely. I think we should probably get this out of the way before I get too excited and start talking about it in other places. But Nikolai. Him! I think Nikolai has to be one of my favorite fictional characters that I've read in such a long time. All of his one-liners, please.
I also love Nikolai. He was like by far the best part of the book, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I just love Nikolai. He's hilarious and perfect.
I think I mentioned this to you before, but when they're in the hummingbird and they're about to crash, and he like hops into like the cockpit or wherever they were sitting in between Mal and Elena, and he's like, "This is cozy," and then they immediately crash. Like, please.
But the scene where Nikolai proposes to Elena.
Oh, so good. Also, I think it's so funny that he did it in front of Mal. Like, that's he literally, like, Nikolai exists to say witty one-liners and push Mal's buttons in this book, and that is exactly what he should be doing. This is in the middle of one of Mal and Nikolai's arguments, which are, of course, incredible. Nikolai's talking about like trying to convince Mal to go on the hunting trips, and Mal's like, "I'll think about it," and Nikolai says, "Good boy." And then Mal goes, "Watch yourself, Nikolai. Princes bleed just like other men." And Nikolai goes, "Yes, they just do it in better clothes."
Yeah.
And then Elena goes, "Why do you provoke him that way?" And he says, "Did I?" All their walks back to like the little palace, like Elena and Nikolai after the meetings, and they would have their little conversations, and like a like genuine Nikolai quote is when Elena like tells him that he'll make a good king, and then he doesn't really know what to say, and he like has to stop, and then he's just like, "Thank you." Like, I love him. I love him. When he was about to kiss her, when they got the dishes to work, I lost my mind.
Me too.
Even this time, I lost it.
Elena was so worried about him at the very end.
I know.
I was like, hello, just get married already.
I know. But we have the lovely Lansov son, and then we had the nasty Lansov son. All the homies hate Vasily. And the scene where he proposes to Elena, I'm like, dude, just stop. When they get back to Osalta finally, and Vasily meets them at the gates, and it's like super tense, and then Nikolai like takes command of everything with like a couple of sentences. I
love that. I was so surprised at the very beginning. I was like, I put in my notes, it's like page 16. Really? Like, you couldn't have waited a little longer to introduce the Darkling?
Oh, the sea whip when they captured it and Alina still can't kill it. And then Mal is finally like, you know what? No. And he like grabs her hand and like does it for her. I was like, that's what you should have done the first time, buddy.
Literally.
Be in this mess.
I loved the part that took place on the ship.
It's so good. It's so Talia and Tamar are the loves of my life.
That's what I was gonna say before. I love them so much.
They're so dedicated, obviously, because they think she's like a saint, but like they're still like her really good friends and like they care about her so much. And they've only been even like on the ship and they've only been around her for like a couple of weeks. And also like getting to see what Grisha are like outside of Ravka, or like Grisha who come from not Ravka, is like nice.
Yeah, it was so interesting.
Mhm.
Like the whole thing with Tamar and her weapons is hilarious. The twins are the only part of Alina's guard that I will acknowledge for this book.
Uh-huh. Yeah, while we're on the subject, let's talk about who I like to call Mopey Mal, because he was simply the worst in this book. Can he not understand that Alina has like this huge weight on her shoulders? Like she's trying to save the freaking world, bro. Like cut her some slack. Where he like gets into fights and he's kissing Zoya and he's like, I'm like, dude, like what is your problem?
Can they not just have one cute moment in the entire book? Every conversation they have is a fight and it's just so annoying. I'm like, how do you expect me to care about this relationship if they're just fighting all the time?
Because obviously Alina still cares, so we care at least a little.
Mhm.
But at that point, like, should Alina even care anymore? Nikolai said, like, after, I think it was right before he proposed to Alina in the tent, he was talking to Mal and Alina, and he was like, you know, for two people with a love eternal, you seem to be very insecure, or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So funny.
I don't know. I would have been very down for Nikolai and Alina. That would have been fantastic.
I just thought it was funny, like Mal is French for bad, and I was like, you're correct.
When Alina goes to the little palace again for the first time and all the Grisha are arguing about like whether or not to support her. And then, first of all, she almost kills Sergei by like cutting him in half.
Yeah.
And then she's like, she has this like little paragraph speech, but then at the end of it, she says, I am a soldier, I am the sun summoner, and I'm the only chance you have. And then she just leaves.
I know.
That's so powerful. I cannot believe she almost killed Sergei. She descent into darkness. This
literally, yeah. I kind of enjoyed that moment. I was like, okay.
I think it like definitely happens in Ruin and Rising, like especially at the beginning with like the apparat and everything.
He creeps me out.
I hate him. He is so scary. And every time Alina is like his musty cloth scent, I'm like, ugh. When Alina goes to visit Bagra and she like turns her away and she's just so angry and so heartbroken, like that was really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Bagra is obviously like mean and scary, but she has reasons to be mean and scary. She deserved better. She really did.
She did. Her part in Ruin and Rising made me so sad. I feel like she is hilarious in a similar way to Nikolai, but like different.
Mm-hmm. Also, the exchanges between Alina and Zoya. So good. So good. When Alina and Zoya are talking and they're watching Mal fight, and Zoya's like, oh, I can watch him all day. And then Alina's like, shut up. And then she goes, I'm sure the Darkling would gladly welcome you back at his side. And then Zoya's like, are you ordering me to leave? Except she sounds scared. Dude. Alina growing into her power in her leadership role, so cool.
I feel like I would like Zoya more if I did get to see her perspective, because like she was obviously like in that books, but not a ton. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, like there's more Zoya content in Ruin and Rising, but I still feel like I would need more to like actually really enjoy her character.
But there is actually Zoya content in the duology, the 6th.
Okay.
I think it's in Crooked Kingdom, which I never actually finished. Like I tell people I finished Crooked Kingdom, but I stopped before one of the major character deaths because I didn't want to read it. Haha. And I still haven't finished.
Oh my god.
I feel like I should maybe do that.
I was surprised. I was like, plot twist is a third amplifier? I was like, what is going to happen in the rest of this book if they literally find the second amplifier, like page 60?
Mm-hmm.
And then they did not find the third amplifier. You told me, or you sent me like a fan art thing of Elena with white hair, and then you're like, oops, sorry, she gets white hair. And then when it actually happened, I was like, that is actually so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
was very pumped about the white hair.
I realized that I sent that and I was like, that's kind of a plot thing. And then I was trying to downplay it. I was like, LOL, she goes blonde. Ha. Like, no. She gets like her power leached out of her. LOL.
She like kind of dies from taking the Darkling's power.
Just a little bit. But that was so cool.
I
She's
really enjoyed that.
she's such a good protagonist. I feel like I don't usually like protagonists like this much. Like I'm always in love with the side characters far more, which obviously I'm far more in love with Nikolai. However, Elena, like I really like her. I think she's great. She really like comes into her own in Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising.
Yeah, I enjoyed her character arc. I definitely did not like her at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like she grew into like a really interesting character.
Okay, hi, I'm back to do an outro. We ended our discussion a little bit abruptly, so I just wanted to like wrap things up. We filmed that a long time ago. When I'm filming this outro clip, it is 4 days until Shadow and Bone comes out, so I am beyond excited. Cannot wait. But it was really fun to chat with Zoe. Again, if you want to check out her channel, I will make sure to link it in the description and you can go ahead and check that out. Not exactly sure what my plan is for this channel for the foreseeable future. I mean, my semester is almost over, so I should be able to be uploading a little bit more frequently, but right now I'm just focusing on school and also just reading when I can. So the next thing that goes up is probably going to be more Grishaverse content, surprise, surprise, because I'm reading Rule of Wolves right now, but just keep an eye out for it. I do miss you guys. I still want to keep up with this channel, so I promise I'm not gone for good. I'm just trying to focus on school. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you so choose, and I will see you next time. Happy reading!